We're happy to announce the first episode of Amplify.
Wow.
Amplify is a video series that captures narratives from very prominent and influential South Sudanese. In today's episode, our guest needs no introduction. He has been very prominent on the airwaves of South Sudan. He has been so impactful in narrating the story of South Sudan. Ladies and gentlemen, today let's welcome Dynamq. Dynamq, welcome to the Amplify.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great. Dynamq, it has been a while.
Yeah.
The last time we had a conversation must be 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that we kept that conversation online. Sometimes you communicate to me on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And I felt today we should have you on the Amplify.
Wow.
We share the same dreams. I started in the music space.
Yeah.
So the conversation today on Amplify is not centered mainly on the product that comes from music, but we're going to look deeper into the behind the scenes, what happens. The first time I heard of Dynamq was around 2012, 2011 or 2012. I was so active in the music industry by then. And Jere Jere, not Jere Jere, there's a song before Jere Jere, Iyalde.
The first version.
Probably.
Yeah.
It was a very powerful song by then. In 2011-12, the beat by Morolo Kombo used to be the defining platform. When your song makes it to the beat, trust me, that is something so powerful. So with that, tell us your inspiration. First of all, the genesis before Dynamq became Dynamq. What happened?
First of all, thank you for having me as a first guest. It's an honor. You know, I've always said we need more platforms like this, and I'm glad you definitely took leadership and, you know, took care of that. You know, I've always said that God has blessed me with something very special, which is I have the best of both worlds. Living home here in South Sudan. Of course, maybe I grew up in Kenya, but it's still home. And also living abroad. And I've always wanted to be the bridge to connect abroad and back home. I wanted to be a footballer.
Okay.
You know, football runs in my family heavy.
Good.
You know, and I don't know if you know what Dariada is. Dariada used to be the Juba Stadium.
Okay.
So my father was part of those people that built the stadium.
Okay.
So, and my father was a FIFA referee.
Wow.
In Uganda. So there's my father was old. My father was born in 1924.
Wow. That's
powerful. And he was there from the beginning of everything, you know, and was telling me stories. He passed away when I was 12 years old, you know, and I always remember he always told me, your words are powerful.
Good.
You know, use your words wisely. And that is one of the reasons why my music, anybody can listen to my music, whether you're old or young. You can't disrespect people when it comes to entertainment. You have to make people feel connected with your music, you know. And of course, like I said, football was the first love. I was a very good footballer. Let me make that clear. I was an attacking midfielder, you know, but also you know, one thing as being a refugee, you know, we learn not to put our eggs in one basket, and I do hope a lot of people understand that, because, you know, once you commit yourself to one thing, it might not work.
Yep.
So you need to have something else. Just like you say, you started into music. Now you have one of the biggest radio station and biggest platform in South Sudan. We don't know what our future holds, but we always have to be open and be ready for the blessings. I feel like this is a blessing.
Good.
Because I'm pretty sure you never saw yourself here like this, but you know, mentally you are ready.
Yep.
And that is what is in us as South Sudanese. You know, there's a lot of people that are doing jobs that they don't like.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke this earlier with those of Deco. There's a lot of engineers that were forced by their parents to be engineers just because I was an engineer. I want you to be an engineer. And I think that's not a right thing to do, you know.
Someone once told me that we have the best musicians right now working as either a cashier somewhere, and the best engineers wrongly positioned. And thank you so much. I like that inspiration and motivation, because all of us started from the ground up. Personally, I started music as a distributor.
Wow.
During the time of cassettes, 2007, 2000.
You're a veteran.
Yes. So I understood. I started music as a distributor. I used to travel to Kampala, and there were about 3 distribution points. There's one called Kasukira, there's one called XYZ, and X Zone. We buy cassettes, and I started by selling cassettes.
Did you used to dub them as well?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I monitored the evolution of music right from the time of cassettes, the time of DVDs, CDs and DVDs, and the transition to memory cards and flash.
I don't think you understand what you just said. That is very important, because only a few of us, I'm very fortunate to experience that as well.
Yes.
Because I remember those days how we would label cassettes.
Yes.
And we'll package them in a way whereby, now just I can see the passion when you're speaking about it, but going to a different country to get them and bring them back here, that's a whole...
It was powerful. The Jose Chameleons, the Mr. Nice, the Mr. Parrots, a lot of these kind of artists by then defining the music in Eastern Africa, including South Sudan. In Congo, we have the Wera Sons, the Kofi Olomide, the Extra Musica. Yes, all this. So, in that regard, you're one of the senior artists we have in this country that has gone through this evolution. How have you evolved over time, looking down to all these transitions, right from the DVD or from the cassette generation to now that we are getting to streaming, which is more like the front line of entertainment?
I thank God, because now things are... when I started DJing, I used to DJ with cassettes and vinyls.
Okay.
I still have the vinyls, the LP. Carrying those things are heavy.
Yeah.
You know, those LPs, it's like you have a box of them, and then you used to use a needle. Those needles, you can't break it. If you break it, the show is done.
I watched that in, is it Straight Outta Compton? There's a movie, Dr. Dre. How do you call it?
Yes,
yes.
Straight out of Compton.
Yeah, Straight out of Compton.
Those needles cost like $200. And those needles is what you put on the record to play.
Okay.
And it's so crazy you say this, giving me chills, because I've always said I don't think our generation of musicians understand the evolution. And this is very important, because my God, having those cassettes, even the CD era was so hectic, man.
Yeah.
And you have to duplicate those CDs.
Yeah.
The DJs now, you just have a flash drive, you plug it into and you go. Now
or you log into the streaming platform,
it.
And you just get your
music.
music.
But I think the pandemic opened a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, when you are not allowed to go out, the streaming became heavy, and people start realizing you can actually entertain people while they're at home. That's why I love the name Advanced Youth. Good. Because you guys, when I was speaking to you, you were speaking of things that you wanted to do that was ahead. Because when you first told me about streaming, the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, well, internet for South Sudan, come on. Like, but your mind was already set, and you spoke with it confidently.
Yeah.
You said, Dynamq, I'm going to be the first station to stream.
Yeah.
And so it happened.
We did that.
And you did that. And it's not streaming where we actually see real time, clean. When I show my friends abroad, this is a station from South Sudan, they couldn't believe it. Even Junubin themselves couldn't believe it. Yeah,
the idea was we needed to create a connection, something that bridge artists from wherever they are. One thing I need to bring to this conversation is that I know for the artists who had been in the game or on the game around 2010 will understand that it was very difficult to have your song put on radio.
Oh man.
It's very, very difficult. I can share with you my first excitement. I remember how my songs went to the radio. I didn't know. I used to have a mega hit, Imo Moraya, which is more like an anthem in Yei, and up to now it's still relevant.
Nice.
2011, I was in Juba University.
Yeah.
And I got a call from Morolo Kombo. You know, he was a big star at that time. It's hard to get to this, to do this guy.
That is our main guy.
When he called me, he was like, I want you on my show. Morolo Kombo from Radio Miraya. I said, are you sure?
Yeah, and when you tell your friends, they think you're lying.
Yeah, they thought it's a lie. And Miraya was so organized in a way that they said, if you don't have a transport, we'll send a van to pick you. And trust me, that time we don't have money.
It never happened
It's
to
very
you
difficult.
before.
They sent Miraya van to pick me, and I went to the stage. Trust me, the way
You felt like a superstar.
I felt valued. Yes. And trust me, for your song to feature on the top 10 or top 20 countdown Radio Miraya, man, you made it in life. It was so powerful.
Yeah.
So, understanding this evolution and the struggles that artists go through, I felt it's very necessary for us to see how the industry has evolved over time. I would say I'm among the luckiest one that it took me about 4 years to buy my car. By 2013, I was already driving my own car.
Yeah.
My dream car also, I got it. But now I see complaints from the current artists. Maybe in less than a year, you're lucky you made a hit, you're driving a car, and they're complaining that it's difficult being an artist. Can you share with us those down moments
they're too spoiled.
Okay.
I'll be honest, they're too spoiled.
Can you elaborate on that?
Because I still do remember my song just being played on a South Sudan radio while I'm living abroad. Biggest joy.
Good.
You know, and when I think one of my first songs that started playing here was the Iyal Del song.
Yeah.
And I was like, are they gonna like it? You know, what's going on? I just feel like the beat was too slow, the guitar is too loud, you're just nervous, you know? But when they started playing and I remember when I opened my Facebook page, and Facebook actually reached out to me and say your page is eligible to be verified.
Good.
I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you know?
How many followers by then?
By then, I think I only had 300.
Imagine, 300 followers.
Yes, just 300, I think they go by the people that's reaching out to your page.
Yes, yes.
They said this region is reaching out to you a lot, and you have a potential. And I thought it was fake, so I sent in my ID. Just like that, in the morning, I was verified. I am still like, okay, what do I do now? I'm telling my friends I'm verified, kida. So I think I was one of the first artists to get verified. But to me, I still didn't have the content, the music. Yep. So when I did Iyal Del, you know, and I started saying, you know what? People in South Sudan want somebody to tell their stories.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing how important my voice was. And a good friend of mine named Loro, we started the River Nile Entertainment together. And we came down here.
Is he still in the River Nile?
Oh yes, definitely. People just see me because I'm the loud one, but Loro is definitely the backbone.
Is he a performer too?
No, he's a producer.
Okay.
And it's like somebody we grew up together. We've been best friends for over 20 years, you know, and we came down here, I think in 2011, when we did Kalama de Wosulu.
Yeah, with Angelosi, the Quincy.
Yeah, we were here doing the referendum, man.
Okay.
We actually voted.
Okay.
We came down here and we recorded right there by opposite Nile Milk.
Nile Milk. Which studio was that?
That's our studio. It was River Nile Studio.
Okay.
It was a studio. We brought all the equipment from the state. We just wanted people to come and record.
Yeah.
The original song is supposed to be Dynamq featuring Silver X and Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't get Silver X. And then
why? Was he had to reach